Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to an episode of Box Office Chat. This is a show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Warfare, making $4.8 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $17 million. That number stays the same worldwide. It hasn't received a big boost internationally. So the movie did hold well this weekend. It only dropped 42%. Pretty impressive given the type of movie and how much it opened last week. And it shows that it's maintaining its core audience. Some people are getting the word about it. And the movie is definitely going to surpass its initial $20 million production budget. And I think A24 will be pretty satisfied with that, all things considered. I don't think they were really hoping for this to be the next Civil War or anything, so the fact that it was able to get to this total altogether despite the very stiff competition this month and the lack of marketing that at least I saw for it, it's still pretty impressive. I think the word of mouth is definitely helping it. It's not, doing gangbusters or anything, but given the past couple films from the studio, I think they're satisfied with how this movie is turning out. So even though it's not going to be, again, the next Civil War or Everything Everywhere All at Once for the studio, this movie's still doing all right for itself. Going to be interesting to see if it can continue this momentum. We are heading to the summer movie season, so it's going to deal with even more competition. But as is right now, I think it's heading on the right track. Hopefully it maintains these strongholds throughout the rest of its theatrical run, because things ain't looking too bad for this movie thus far. Number 4 was The Amateur, making $7 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $27 million and its worldwide total to $63 million. So not bad overall for this film thus far. It did surpass its initial $60 million budget worldwide, and I think if it can keep going at this rate, it'll crack $100 million worldwide, which is pretty impressive, all things considered, for this film. I did not have the highest expectations for this film going into it, so the fact that it's already surpassed its initial budget is rather impressive, especially considering the big movies coming out around this time. And again, we're heading into the summer movie season, so the fact that the movie has still been able to do this well is rather impressive. It could be doing better, yes, considering the star power and the studio and the money behind it, but this still ain't too shabby. Again, it'll be interesting to see where the movie goes from this point forward. We got another big action thriller coming out this weekend, and then again, summer movie season, lots for this movie to face off against. I'm not sure if it's gonna really put up as much of a fight as the studio's hoping for, but like with Warfare, I think they're satisfied with how the movie's turned out thus far. It doesn't seem like the film is really suffering from the competition or word of mouth, but it's also not gaining anything, if you know what I mean. So yeah, overall, not like Warfare, not bad. I have hope it'll get to some more milestones, but I'm not expecting anything else major out of this. It'll do good for itself, but not great, if you know what I mean. Number 3 was The King of Kings, making $17 million this weekend. Its domestic total stands at $45 million, and its worldwide total stands at $49 million. Talk about the sleeper hit of the moment right now, folks. When discussing animated movies, we usually tend to expect better than expected holds given their positive reception and whatnot and their appeal to families, but folks, this completely dominated this weekend. It only fell 9%. Like that is absolutely extraordinary, even if you take in consideration the pay it forward scam forward whatever. This is still a really impressive hold. I definitely think Easter did a lot to help this movie out. A lot of families wanting to go check it out to celebrate the holidays or just to see a cute little film about Jesus, pretty much. It's clear that a lot of people are responding to this movie well, and it's definitely paying very well for Angel Studios, certainly their biggest film in a long time. It will be interesting to see how this movie does after Easter. I think this is pretty much the big momentum the movie was hoping for. I'm not sure if it's going to continue to do that. I don't think it's going to plummet or drop off, but I don't know how much further this movie can go. It's definitely playing towards a specific demographic, so it's going to be interesting to see if it can continue to keep this momentum for the next remainder weeks of its theatrical run. But still, mighty impressive performance. It's already made all the money it needed to, really. This is an absolutely exceptional run. You cannot convince me otherwise. We'll see how much further this movie can go. But yeah, really, really surprising and great results for The King of Kings for sure this weekend. Number 2 was a Minecraft movie making $40 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $343 million and its worldwide total to $716 million. So I think it's safe to say, going off this weekend, it's not going to reach Mario movie numbers. It's falling a bit steeper than what that movie was doing these past couple weeks. I know Easter was also a big reason why this movie took quite a hit this weekend, but I think it's safe to say that, you know, the hype is starting to slow down a bit, and we're starting to see the momentum slow down as well for this film. But still, though, you know, this movie's still doing gargantuan numbers. Despite that, it's still going to be, at the time of this recording, the second biggest video game film ever, and where it's at worldwide, I see no reason why it doesn't crack $1 billion. Even if it just barely gets over that milestone, it's still going to be able to cross it, and that will be such a huge achievement, especially for this movie, given the reception it's gotten from people who have seen it and the people who are being absolute dweebs and just ruining the movie theater going experience for people. The fact that the movie is still making this type of money and generating this much revenue is absolutely insane. And there are rumors, I don't think it's been officially stated yet, but there, according to insiders at Warner Brothers, there's already talks for another Minecraft movie, so look for that on the horizon. So yeah, despite the fact that I think we're headed towards the slowdown period for this movie, not gradually, mind you, but it's definitely the hype's starting to die down a bit. This movie's still doing really, really well. I think we'll see it cross 400 million domestically very soon, and especially $1 billion worldwide very soon. Still huge numbers despite the slowdown period heading a bit faster than I think people expected to. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was Sinners, opening with $48 million this weekend domestically and $63 million worldwide. This is the biggest opening for a horror film this year, topping The Monkey, Wolfman, The Woman in the Yard, and Companion. It is also the 3rd biggest opening of the year overall, top being Snow White and Dogman, but still sitting behind Captain America Brave New World and a Minecraft movie. It's also the biggest opening for an original film this decade. I could be wrong about the order of these movies, so someone could correct me in the comments, but as far as I know, it topped Nope, If, Elemental, and Civil War. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. And this is also the first time in 15 years where one studio had 2 movies grossing over $40 million at the box office. The last time this happened was back in 2009 when 20th Century Fox put out Avatar and Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel. Obviously, this is a really, really big deal. Last month, we had so many misfires with Novocaine and Mickey 17, Woman in the Yard, and Death of a Unicorn. Even Snow White couldn't really bring it, and it seemed like all doom and gloom. So the fact that this movie was able to do this well this week, if it cracked 42 million, it would have been really impressive, but it almost got to 50. That is insane to see with this film. I think the marketing did an excellent job. They really did a great job promoting this movie, selling this movie, getting the word out, having the star power in full force, definitely highlighting Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, having their names fully present in the advertising, and also just selling the movie really well. A lot of people were really interested and excited about this movie, but I also think the stellar reviews really propelled this movie to the top, just like universal acclaim from critics. Like, it was at 100% for almost a week. Of course, naturally some more reviewers brought it down, but still standing at a 98%. That is incredible to see. And the word of mouth, like, this was the weekend for Sinners, not Easter, because every person I saw talking about this movie on social media or even in real life, it was just positive things. Everybody who has seen this movie has loved it. Even with like some other movies in the past where people really like it, I would usually see at least a couple people going like, I wasn't too big on it. But this has been, like I said with critics, universal acclaim. The cinema score, my god, folks, it would have been great if this got a B+, but folks, it got an A, not an A minus, an A. Not only is this the first film this year to get the A cinema score since Paddington in Peru back in February, but it is the first horror film in 35 years to score this well on cinema score. The last one was Poltergeist back in the 80s. That is monumentous. The word of mouth on this is exceptional, and it's really propelling this movie to greater heights. What's also helping is, believe it or not, the budget. It is definitely a lot more expensive than most just movies these days in general. It's a really expensive movie, $90 million, but the fact that it's already made a majority of that back already is quite the accomplishment, and I definitely think it's going to make its budget back by the end of the week, because again, the word of mouth is still going strong. To this day, I am still seeing people talking about how excellent this movie, encouraging others to go check it out. Even when I was at work, I saw and heard people saying, it was so good, I'm going to see it again. I really think we have our first breakout big surprise of the year, and especially considering how last month was all doom and gloom, I definitely think this was a much needed win for the industry. Definitely a win for horror, for original movies, and just the movie theater business in general. The fact that this movie did so well, yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. This was an absolutely glorious, stupendous opening, and I cannot wait to see how much higher this movie can go. I genuinely believe we are in for something special here. Just a fantastic opening for Sinners this weekend. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. This weekend we have 2 new major wide releases, starting with Until Dawn, another video game adaptation. Crazy, we got one at the start of the month and one at the end of the month based off the beloved horror game of the same name, although I'm not sure if this is going to be what a Minecraft movie or Five Nights at Freddy's was, as I'm just not sure if it's gonna really deliver. I think it'll crack the top 5 because the name of the game, and I think a lot of the fans of the game are gonna want to go check this out to see how they translated it onto the big screen, and maybe even some horror fans are a bit curious. And apparently it's good. I've heard some people who have seen it already, and apparently it's better than what the trailers made it out to look, so maybe that'll propel interest, but I don't know. I think this movie is just set up for a bit of a upset this week. I think coming out so soon after Sinners, which just did monumentously well, is not very good for Until Dawn. I think it's gonna really get overshadowed by the spillover from this movie's insanely positive word of mouth, add on to the fact that I haven't seen much marketing for the film, really. I've gotten the trailer a couple times, I've seen promos here and there, but nothing really major. Nothing to the extent of what Five Nights at Freddy's got, and especially not Minecraft. And the buzz isn't quite there outside of fans of the game who really want to see this movie. Not seeing a lot of people talk about this movie, really, and even fans of the game aren't really satisfied with how the movie looks. Some people are saying, this doesn't really look like Until Dawn. So gonna be interesting. I think it'll still make enough to crack the top 5, and I doubt it was really expensive, so maybe it'll still make enough to be a success, but I'm not really holding out much hope for this. And then there's The Accountant 2. This is the long-awaited sequel to the cult classic action thriller The Accountant. It reunites Ben Affleck with his brother, played by Jon Bernthal, and they gotta take down some baddies after assassinating, I guess, one of the buddies of Ben Affleck's accountant character. I didn't see the first one, so I'm just going off of what the trailers got. And I think this movie could do pretty well for itself. The First Accountant wasn't that big in theaters, but I definitely think it's gotten a following over time. I definitely heard it was pretty big on home video, and there does seem to be interest with this movie. They're really selling it on the dynamic and chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. Apparently they had a really funny thing during CinemaCon, just them riffing on each other, and I think this movie's selling it on that. Also the action sequences and the name brand, The Accountant, which I think will generate buzz for this movie as well. Problem is, though, I'm not sure if The Accountant is as big of a franchise as the studio is hoping for. Again, the first movie didn't really do that much, and I was honestly kind of surprised they're even making a sequel. I know it has its following and its fans, but I'm not sure if it's going to be really big enough to drive a lot of interest for this film. And like with Until Dawn, I think the spillover effect from Sinners is definitely going to affect this film's performance. Think it might get a bit overshadowed, not to the degree that Until Dawn will, of course, but I think putting this out the week after might hurt it more than I think they intended to. But still, I think we're still going to see a solid opening for this. I'm seeing a lot of marketing for it. I got the trailer a lot, seeing a lot of promos, and again, them selling this on the dynamic between the two leads, again, with a huge star power, Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. I think that's really smart for them, and apparently the movie's pretty good. Reviews came out after South by Southwest, and critics seem to be liking it well, so hopefully that generates a bit more buzz and interest for this film. I'm definitely expecting at least a decent opening for this movie, because again, it is the sequel to Accountant. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but nothing too great, nothing bad, but nothing too great. Just a solid, decent opening for this. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.